Everybody, welcome back to the Muse to Music podcast. And I have a very special guest with me today. This is sort of the singer-songwriter edition, and it's based off the Rock Fantasy Camp singer-songwriter edition. So I met a lot of fantastic people. And with me today, I have May with me. So we're going to talk about one of her records called Child of the Universe. I was really, really impressed by the collection of songs. It's from 2022, the 6 songs altogether. And we're going to chat about a few of them and help you get exposed to the wonderful tunes that are on this record. Really fantastic stuff. I really enjoy listening to it. Such a great blend of different styles, different genre in terms of age, in terms of decades, things like that. There's a lot of things that kind of kicked into my head when I heard these collection of songs for the first time. And it's also, from my interpretation, it's kind of music with a message. So, and the message is really cool. So I want to kind of share that with you guys and give you a flavor. So May, thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I will be annoying for a second. So the songs were recorded in 2018, and then I posted them 2022 through DistroKid. So yeah, like I wrote it in a very small font on the
Yeah, I
fly.
saw that. Yeah.
Recorded in 2018 because it's like, your voice evolves, your writing evolves, your perspective evolves. So yeah, little side note. But yes, a big project. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for correcting that too. I did see that a little bit, and I figured, okay, I could go either way and go that the actual when it was actually written or the release date. So I'm glad you clarified that for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, I released it and took it off and released it and took it off. I mean, listen, it's a hot mess sometimes, but now it's out and it will stay out.
Yes, it's really cool, and we'll share where that is at towards the end of this episode. I'll tell you guys where you can find it. So,
Mm.
but yeah, great. Like I said, great collection of tunes, Child of the Universe. So before we get into the album, I just want to ask you about your sort of journey into music. What led you to music? And I know you sing and play guitar. When did that desire come in? Was there a certain time period or a certain event that kind of spurred that on for you?
I was born into a music loving home, definitely, and family as well. My parents, my mom always had a guitar around, my dad as well, and keyboards and also a piano in the living room. My parents divorced when I was a baby, well, very little, but in both households, music was always around and sharing, what they love and then starting to learn what I love. I mean, born in 91, so I didn't grow up with YouTube until maybe I was a tween. So just kind of hearing what was around me. And I grew up in a Jewish religious home. So on weekends and on holidays, singing is part of it, at least in our home, singing the prayers. And yeah, small town, but there was always something going on. And eventually, when I was 12, I think I had my first local talent show. And then when I was 14, I did it again. And then I really just understood this is what I love and what I want to do. And both my mom and dad accompanied me. My mom accompanied me on my bat mitzvah, and then my dad started accompanying me with a guitar and singing with me. We would do duets, and sometimes I do solo songs, and sometimes harmonies in Jerusalem. So
Oh, wow.
well, I was born and raised in Israel, yeah. So, born in Jerusalem, raised in a small town outside of Jerusalem, and that was about a 15-minute drive. So, I mean, it was accessible. And once I was about 15, I was spending more time there, and yeah, just playing gigs with my dad,
Oh,
which was
cool.
really cool. Yeah,
Yeah, family affair is always nice when you get that support, is really it's special.
yeah,
It's not, it's not not unique, but it's unique in certain families where it's very tight, Like you get
yeah,
support in different ways, if you're playing
yeah,
school band or something, renting
yes.
instruments for you to play and that kind of thing. But to do it as a family unit is really special.
Yes, and I had so much and still do have so much support. I was always encouraged and just complimented so that, helped me really see what I can do with it. Of course, then the real things happen. You go out into the world, I mean, and then it's just, there's no, it's hard to really understand the music industry and how one could really create, whether it's income, longevity, connections, collaborations, especially, if you're moving a lot or kind of learning on the go. Because I have a lot of support and was led in directions of like true professionals in the industry. But yeah, I definitely want to stay true to myself, and whether or not that's getting in my own way, I still, you know, am navigating what that is. Um, but very, very grateful to have that early start. Um, and also recorded a little bit when I was a teenager. There was a guy, Mitch, in a frat where I grew up, and go to his studio in American, moved to Israel. So I grew up in a town, a very Anglo town, a lot of Americans, Brits, South Africans, Australians, and other families, but a lot of English. Um, and yeah, so we wrote some stuff, recorded some things. It was interesting. I was stoked about it, but it didn't end up really getting anywhere, I would say. So um, yeah, but it's there in the archives, and maybe one day I'll look into it. But that was a cool experience. So yeah, I was very, very lucky to always have some kind of outlet and support and encouragement. And um, on the other hand, I also had family members, and mostly, yeah, I guess mostly family members that wanted to make sure that I had a plan B just in case, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so there was definitely that as well, which is important for sure. But there were ins and outs, let's just say, throughout the years. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, it's really cool. Just that community feeling is really nice too when you have that built in. It
yeah,
just a little easier, fuels
absolutely.
creativity in different ways. It's good.
Yeah, 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 for
That's
sure.
cool. Yeah, so you got some stuff in the vault. That's cool. You can pull out
Oh,
later on.
plenty.
Yeah, it's good.
Plenty. Even some music videos. Oh
Oh
man.
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Early
Yeah.
YouTube stuff, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, it's kind of coming into that time period too, like having the advent of YouTube and social media. It just allows for that ease of releasing material into the world
Oh,
so much, it seems to fit really well, and you coming into that time period is really cool, so that's exciting because you get to really hone that down.
now it feels a little easier, but
Yeah,
it really for the most part was never easy for me. And that's why I'm always in and out of social media, because I really, really have a hard time with doing that posting. And oh, are you kidding? When I was a teenager and YouTube was really growing, I would see, kids my age sitting in front of the camera, recording themselves and posting and posting. And some people would land deals, and
yeah,
I'm sitting there recording myself and just freaking out. Oh my goodness. And then I wouldn't post it in the end, or I'd post it and then I'd erase it. Oh,
yeah.
that it has been my biggest struggle for sure. Oh man. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it still is in some ways, but at this point, yes, experience has helped. And what I always make sure to do is when I have a live show, I will film it and I will take my favorite parts and I'll put it on YouTube. So yes,
No, it's
that's
great.
works
That's
for me.
that's a you get to see everything, when you do that. Just I tell my students this too, where if you're gonna play, film yourself playing because you're gonna hear things that you don't really know
Yeah,
from behind the instrument, and you get to
yeah,
see it like, oh, this thing's got to change. Like this is something that I need to work on. So it's really revealing in a good way. It's very instructional. So it's cool
yeah.
you do that.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, really important. And that's good to have the documentation too, because you might want to do
Yes.
anything you want with that. So it's good
Yeah.
to do that. It's such a thing that you know people feel funny about filming so much. Like I'm the same way with content. I don't want to be like, constantly putting out things, but it just depends on what it is. If it's really something that you want to share, that makes it
Yeah.
easier where you can approach it that way. You don't have to do it.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
have that free will built in of like how much we want to share with everybody. That's great. We can dictate all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in the era of the divas. My first musical teachers were the great, Mariah, Celine, Christina, Whitney, Alicia, Joss. I mean, Erica Badu. Like, I don't even have to like say their last names. You know what I mean? Most people know who they are. And I was just hearing, and Michael Jackson, Ray Charles, George Michael. And then later in my late teens, I started, my dad was short, and my mom as well, but they were more like folk rock and classic rock. Um, but yeah, definitely soul, blues, jazz, musical theater. And that was looking at these artists that had teams around them. So when everything became DIY, it was just, I mean, especially with YouTube, and that was even before but yeah, my mind was still thinking, oh, yes, I'll sign with a label one day and I'll have a team and they'll film me and they'll post and they'll do this and and I'll just sing and perform. and that was not the way. And so, recently I kind of returned after many years of doing it myself and really pushing myself in that space, um, and learning a lot and really, gaining a lot of tools like graphic design, whether it was making flyers or event producing, creating my own stage and my own community of creators and listeners. And um, I'm so grateful for that for sure. But in the last year, I almost have reverted back to that diva like mindset where it's like, if I have an opportunity and someone really wants to work with me and there's equal stakes in it, you know what I mean? I would want someone who's really, really, really good at that to do it.
Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
try to keep it, as stress free as you can is nice because it's
Oh,
the art
yeah,
part of it.
for
That's the hard
sure.
thing. It's like getting that team together. It's like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It's like finding those people that know what you want to do, and then you just go. It'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a minute, but
Hey, listen, if it needs to be, it will be. I am honestly just collecting myself right now.
yeah,
So
right.
at this moment in time, I am very careful with the things I ask for. I'm just kind of chilling right now. But yes,
Good.
obviously, if all things aligned and it just felt really good, then totally.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
very cool. That's a good background to everything. So I'm glad you shared that with us. It's fantastic, which leads us right into the album that we're going to discuss briefly.
Yeah.
Child of the Universe, or The Child of the
Mm.
Universe, right? So, like you said, it was recorded in 2018, released in 2022. And the thing that struck me with the first song on the album is Goddess. So I want to
Yeah.
talk about that for a minute. And I mentioned, like, when I was first listening to it, I made a comment in my notes saying I appreciate the turn. I wasn't expecting the turn because it starts out a certain way with the lyric, and then it
Right.
goes into this. It sounded like more like it was describing a character. It was like that sort of
Mm.
preamble to a story. In terms of what
Sure.
the sequencing of the songs is. And I got this vibe of a story. Then there was like this little twist in the story where it was about something different, but then it became something where now yourself is put into it. And
Right.
the word I was being used. Like, oh
Yeah.
wow, I didn't expect that. I had no
Yeah.
idea where it was gonna go. But the lyrical part of that too, of the goddess being I think it was taken away. I think it was actually refresh my
Yes.
memory, pulled away. Excuse me. And then her
Yeah.
surroundings, she felt unsafe, or
Mm.
she felt, I guess, her surroundings gave her a scare, and then it became a
Mm.
thing where I'm the goddess,
Mm.
and the light of my life. And that was the thing too, is that element of light,
Yeah.
lyrical content throughout. That was sort of a through line with that, with the messaging of that, of
Mm.
having a light be yourself. You're the light, in everything you do and how you move through life. So that was something I really kind of latched onto a little bit, is the messaging. I think was really
Mm.
cool. Wrapped in this music, like you mentioned, like the different styles is very stylistic. This collection of tunes. You got the Motown vibe in there, the R&B, the jazz thing, especially on the later song. I think it was Warrior of Light. I think it was the song.
Oh, Warrior of Light.
That was
Yes.
really cool. And then there's like some really cool jazzy bits, in the later songs. We'll get to a little been later on.
Yes.
But this song
Yes.
was really cool. Again, I was not expecting this sort of switch in the story, you know. So was this something that was like more of like a story type of approach to putting these songs together, or was it that exacting? Or was it more just sort of songs
Hmm.
just arrived and you just put them together and you just happened to fit? So what was was there certain processes with this? How did that
Yeah.
go about?
Well, first of all, I got teary-eyed there for a second because again, it's just I've never spoken about my songs like this, or at least this one in particular. So it's really meaningful to me. So I really appreciate this. Um, I wasn't playing an instrument at that point just yet. I could dibble dabble on the piano. Out of songs, Caught in a Wave was the only one that I came to her, to Beth, with like me playing an instrument. So the other songs, I would sing a melody to her and we would build the arrangement around that. Because usually for me, even with my songwriting, that was, I would consider myself still kind of a newbie with writing. So I had a few songs just kind of come out of me when I was 19. I was still really questioning my writing. I thought it was, I was embarrassed by it, and then I just decided one day, you know what, just write, let it go. And once I started writing, it's almost like the water opened. In Hebrew, I would say "Haberez niftach." It was like, so yeah, the first song I wrote was super silly, and I have the lyrics. You know what I mean? It was super silly, but then suddenly, almost just like my inner world started coming out. So I wrote that, and that was just usually lyrics, and then if I was lucky, lyrics with melody,
Hmm.
and yeah, and then Goddess, I wrote, so that was 19. Goddess, I wrote when I was, I think, 22. I just returned from India. I spent 5 months there. So the energy of the goddess was truly present with me because of my surroundings, because what I associated that with within myself. And I didn't learn about Hinduism. I wasn't reading on that. It was truly just this idea, this feeling of empowerment and true connection to the femininity, um, and what that meant to me. And so when I wrote the song, I wish I had, I save everything, at least I try to, but I didn't, I couldn't even tell you when exactly I wrote that. It was after the trip, or I can't even remember if the melody came with it or after. Goodness, I don't remember. But I arrived with a melody, and it was about the premise of this song was me reconnecting with my divine feminine. And I always felt a little girly girl and a little tomboy. And I love that. And I still feel that way. But growing up in a religious community and then stepping outside of it, but still growing up around it and having these societal norms and expectations. I mean, even as far as promiscuity. I was a party girl. At the age of 15, like I said, I was spending more time in Jerusalem. I was going out. I was just having a good time. Um,
Hmm.
and um, and so you almost lose something there, where it's like a lot of the girls your age from your community are maybe a little bit more um, modest or mindful about, um, or even educated more on, I don't know, how to present themselves as a woman in society, whether it's dating or how to dress or whatever it was. I was just like doing my thing. I didn't care. And I have no regrets. I love it. But internally, there was always this battle of how much do I give? How much do I show? Because I always wanted to be this high femme woman. I love dressing up. I love going out and being flirtatious and not always necessarily with men, just like I love being happy and showing my personality and engaging with others. And for a while there, I almost felt like eventually I was receiving information like it's too much.
Mm,
Or you're never going to find a man if you do this, or if you know, or you, because of, purity or whatever, or taking up too much space, shining bright in a room of people that want to be noticed. Whatever it was, I found myself almost retracting and kind of like hiding myself a bit more.
mm.
And right before I flew to India, I spent a year in Manhattan. So I was living in Israel up until that point, and then I spent a year in Manhattan. I have grandparents there, I have family there. My two older siblings were already, well, one of them at that point was living there with his wife to be. And yeah, just I always had my eyes on America. I wanted to be there. American Idol, movies, you name it. I wanted to be a star. Yeah, and in that year, I was going through some hard stuff. It was kind of a shock, just, new place, acclimating, and being in a very intensive city. And I kind of slipped into a depression. And throughout my life, I almost was kind of used to having winter depression. It didn't feel so scary to me, but this one was really rough because I was also just not in Israel, far from friends and family that I grew up really around. And I then just longest story short, started meditating, going inwards, started kind of wearing more neutral colors. And this was after a summer of partying in Manhattan, yeah. I was like, also just took my whole thing to there and it was just crazy. And then my sister also shared in that year around the same time, that's the secret. So it's almost like I was awakening, but I was also going inwards. So all of that put in one, I hope this kind of makes sense. I realized I'm going back to Israel, but I also am flying to India. Something spiritually pulled me towards there. And a lot of Israelis travel in Israel after the army. They just kind of want to go everywhere. They want to get out. So I always knew that that was a place where a lot of Israelis went to, but it called me in more so because it just seemed like this spiritual mecca. So yes, back to Goddess. That after 3 months, I think, of being there, I'd gone through something like a romance that ended and kind of really messed with me. It was very intense and it was different cultures, and I just couldn't understand what happened. It was just, I mean, I can have a few ideas, but overall, the end of it felt so cold and distant. It was very scary for me. And I connected with other women that were traveling around my age. And it was almost like we just magically found each other within those few days and decided to continue traveling together. And each one of us had something they were going through and needed that nurturing, healing, um, just connection. There was so much of that, I don't know, feminine goddess energy that was kind of a turning point for me, where I always grew up with girlfriends and I have a lot of sisters, but that almost just, it really showed me how important and vital it is. um and it really helped me, it really healed me, and I ended up staying there for another 2.5, like I was there overall 5 months. And yeah, and so when I got back, that song just came through, and it was almost like sometimes when I sing it, I wonder if people think when I say somewhere along the way a goddess uh was pushed away somewhere, or no, wait, somewhere along the way she hid. Somewhere along the way, that her surroundings gave her a scare. She was ready to leave for good. She dared. Sometimes I wonder if people think that's suicidal, but it's not.
I thought that
So
too initially. Yes. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I got to hear more now. So yeah, I had
yeah,
that initially, like, because that's something that, like you mentioned, you go through a certain thing. Like sometimes that's like a natural, because you feel a certain way, and like
yeah,
then you're exploring options. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what's about that specifically, but I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought that initially,
Mm.
but yeah.
That's literally, I waited for this moment my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I literally like just always wanted to put that out there. And when you're performing on stage, it's not really something I want to just suddenly throw out there. But yeah, no, it's really around like taking that shine, that big energy, that femininity, that sensuality, and just kind of putting her away, you
Mhm.
know?
Right.
So when I say I am a goddess, it's almost like I brought her back. Like I rediscovered, like she is within me. She's been with me all along. And you know what's interesting? There's a line, I married the love within.
Yes. Yeah.
That, and it almost makes me feel like I don't even know what the timeline is anymore. It almost feels blurry because when I was 25, and this, what I would imagine I wrote the song was 22, because it was shortly after India and everything was coming out. Um, but when I was 25, I hit the age where I thought I'd be married
Oh,
and
okay.
on my way to having kids. A lot of my girlfriends were already like married or on their way, and just again the societal just norm around me. And I wasn't dating anyone, I wasn't even close to it, and I really mourned that. I was like, oh my god, I'm 25 and I'm single. And so maybe because I recorded the song in 2018. So maybe we did tweak a few lyrics here and there. So maybe I added that because I did at 25 have an own self love marriage ceremony with myself.
Yeah.
I've been single since.
Right.
Um, I've experienced much love in life, but yes, still single and ready to mingle. But catch me if you can, because I don't know what I'm in Portugal now. But yeah, so that was a big lyric for me too. I don't know, just something about that, like really just
Yeah.
owning it, you know?
I wrote that actual lyric down too, because that's what I felt that where the turn was in the song. Like it's not about this, it's about like all the things you just talked about. You brought something out from within yourself that was always there. And
Yeah.
that's when I realized, okay, it's the song isn't what I thought it was. So it was really cool. That's why I kind of latched onto this tune, being it's the opening track, but also the
Mm,
message. Like, it's not about, I'm gonna end it all and because things are going a certain way. It's not about
mm,
that at all. It's about there's a turn. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make these things um, part of how I move through life, and I'm going to move through life in a
mm,
healthy way.
mm,
So I felt the
mm.
messaging of the songs was established with this first tune. So I'm glad you gave all that insight because there's something going on different here, and it was totally unexpected because of these perceptions that sometimes
Mm.
people have when they hear a song. Oh, it's about this. Like, no, it's cool that people have interpretations, but sometimes
Yeah,
they're pretty wide,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. I mean, and thank you for listening because again, it's really cool to expand on it. So, yeah.
Good. I'm getting more into lyrics now because, I'm more of an instrumentalist and not really a vocalist. You're a vocalist.
Mm.
I would say I'm a singer, but
Yes, it was very soothing hearing you.
oh, thank you. But I'm working on it. But before I did any singing, I was an instrumental guy. So I was hearing all the guitars, the bass, the drums. I was latched onto that. And I was really paying attention to the lyrics, which are really important. So that's really kind of locked me into this collection is like what the songs are saying, and the way they're presented around all the instrumentation. It's a really nice package. I think it's really I can listen to all of it at the same time. There's no separation.
Wow.
I can hear
Thank
the
you,
lyrics,
Rob.
all that. So it's really cool. So
That's really
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So I was
Oh,
really, really I was really pleased to hear this collection and even leading into the next song, it's all right. I mean, just more um so just an encouragement song, and that whole
yeah.
70s soul vibe kind of thing going on there. It was really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
And then hearing, like you mentioned, your influences and what you grew up listening to, I was like, okay, now this totally makes complete sense now. But yeah, I mean, the presentation of all of that, just the encouragement from the beginning, everything's all
Yeah.
right, everything's okay. And like you just
Yeah.
mentioned too with Goddess, it seemed to be more like even for yourself, like telling yourself everything's okay, everything's all right. Was your research?
Yeah. How deep can we go and how out of the
Far as you
box
want
can we
to,
go?
far as you want to go, you know?
Um, I noticed a pattern and I tend to write a lot of songs from the rise of the phoenix, overcoming obstacles and regaining power and strength. I have a lot of songs like that. And I even at some point made it a point to write more like day to day, regular like type songs. It's like a lot of big energy. And I I grew up singing in my room at the top of my lungs to songs, and put his story and legacy to the side for a minute. But Michael Jackson really inspired me, like all these big, for the world and for my inner, for myself and for community and big, let's be better and let's take care of the world and whatnot. And then you have, just I don't know, the fun, bubbly, like, you got this, you go,
Mhm.
girl, you do it. I grew up in a very, like I said, encouraging environment where you can do this and go for it and do it. And so going back to what I mentioned, deeper and out of the box. So I always felt I had a bit of this, wild optimism that it's hard for me to explain what the source is. Like, how is it that I see and experience so many scary and sad and complex things around me, and yet I still, even if for I lose touch with it, always return to this feeling of hope and optimism and light, and it's okay and it's going to be okay and everything's going to be okay. I don't know why, but I participated in an ayahuasca ceremony.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So you can take this out
Nice.
if you need to.
Mhm.
This was, oh gosh, maybe 2017, potentially. And it was incredible. I had a very positive experience with it. For the most part, I left my expectations at the door, which is what they recommend because I saw the documentaries. Like, yee.
Yeah, very
um,
surprised. Yeah.
and I was doing sweat lodges, and my friend then told me about it. I was like, let me know, keep telling me, and I feel like at the right time. So like almost a year later was the right time, and I was an eagle soaring through the skies in between mountains. I was a wolf howling, and I was what I believe it was an elder, and I was in a teepee. And mind you, this is in my head because sometimes you open your eyes and you see the room and there's like people purging and crying and yelling and laughing, and it's chaotic. I mean, there was like we were
Yeah.
30 people. But within myself, when my eyes were closed, yeah, so at that one moment I was like an elder in a teepee, a female elder in a teepee, and I was just like, I had this like really deep like knowing it's everything is okay, everything is okay, and wanting to bring that into the room, because again, I would from time to time open my eyes and I'd see people crying, and I grew up in a settlement. I grew up in a Zionist, environment and extremism blended with migrants from all over the world just trying to figure out, their lives, and it's just like a melting pot of a lot.
Yeah.
And but when I'd open my eyes, it was almost like I saw the pain, but I needed them to know that everything is okay. Crazy. So that almost, it kind of like gave me, these experiences, whether it's through medicine or psychedelics, however you want to approach it, or meditation. Because for the last few years, I really wanted to show and actually just see for myself that I can reach these moments of realization and these deep truths without it, so
Yeah.
it's a beautiful tool. It's a crash course, let's just say. Like, you get a lot of information, and But yeah, you can also achieve a lot of that through meditation and just lifestyle. So I really want to emphasize on that. And it validated just so much for me. So yeah, I it's all right is it's such an interesting song because I almost am careful about performing. There are a lot I mean, come on, most of my songs I'm always careful about performing because it's like, what do I want to echo into the world, you know?
Right.
Or do I feel, I don't know. I could always tap into each and every one of them because at some point it was true. Um, but it's almost like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. Try a million different things, you know, like it's okay. We don't have to go down one path. We don't have to be, we could be multifaceted and just to allow ourselves to expand and take risks. Oh, I am a risk taker. And to, I think this is the right word, to my detriment sometimes.
Yeah,
What does that
it's
mean?
funny. It's detriment is like a almost like a uh the opposite of good. Yeah, it's not something that pulls you
Okay.
down. It could be something that weighs you down if you're not careful. It could be
Oh, yes.
a bad
Yes.
quality, but something along those lines, but not that extreme, you know. So,
Yes, if I can give any, for the youngins, I mean, I'm 34, so I would still consider myself kind of young, but for the really, really young
we're
ones,
all young.
if anyone's listening, definitely no. Yeah, yeah, when you, I feel like there has to be a better way to kind of be a risk taker without it completely. But again, there's just so much more to it based off of my life and where I grew up and moving countries and doing a lot on my own, that's scary and really can get tricky when one faces, the harder times. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it really builds your character too, because you develop these coping mechanisms, and then
Hmm.
saying to yourself, it's okay, I'm doing this. You give yourself permission, to move about as you want to, and you pick up all these
Hmm.
things that, which is what you're doing. And I totally appreciate that because, we all have our journey, so there's
Hmm.
no right or wrong way
Hmm.
to do it. It's like I said, you just take a
Hmm.
risk. You put yourself out there.
Hmm.
Even with live performing with your music, like, oh, is this song going to resonate with people? It's like, it's the victory is just putting it out there,
Yes,
people
yes.
will take from that what they will, and the message is good. So that's really the thing too, is that, you're giving people something with your songs that they probably need to hear that because, the
Mm,
messaging is kind of strange right now. So you have to seek it out, and I
mm,
think that's something where when I heard these tunes, I'm like, what, this is something that people could really latch onto because, there's a lot of, you know, fluffy stuff out there that's just for enjoyment, which is great,
right.
uh,
Yeah.
fluffy in a good way because you can really
Yeah.
something and enjoy that, And then you have
Yeah.
other styles of music or other messages that are, reaffirming, So I think that what you're
Mm,
doing is that, to my experience of hearing this and hearing your dialogue and talking about these songs and your experiences, um, I think it's something that's a really good thing to put out there for people because we need all that. We need the
mhm.
mixture, the risk taking of
Yes.
doing that. And then the songs evolve on the live front too, which is really cool, especially if you're playing it by yourself or with a band. The live
Hmm.
experience is a whole other thing, where
Yeah.
you're taking that stuff from the album and just putting it out there, and that creates more growth and risk taking and things like that. So it mirrors your life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that comes up with that song and a few other of my songs are sass. I feel
All right,
that
yes, that's the
I
word.
I,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
I have quite a bit of sass and it's a very, very thin line that I try not to um take, this feeling of I can do it, go for it, yay me, for granted kind of because it comes from a pure place. But at times if you feel like there are naysayers or just powers that be that want to kind of shut it down or like I don't know, quiet down, whatever it is, then you almost find yourself kind of like fighting for it. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like there's a little bit of sass, yeah, that comes through sometimes.
Yeah. No, the fight is important, to have, your voice out there, anyone's voice, and especially
Anyone, yeah, yeah.
right? To get it out there. It's like, I'm going to do this regardless, I'm going to take the risk,
Mm,
put it out there. And that's something that's really um, admirable, because a lot of people won't do that. They'll just kind of play it safe and not do the risk, and not do the travel and
mm,
not do the performing and things like that. So the fact that it's all happening in your sphere, is,
mhm.
that's the connecting fabric to these tunes, is that idea, even with the next song, the Light Prevails, saying I'm not scared, ties right in. All these songs have
Oh
this
my God,
thing in them,
how yeah, that one's a serious confident moment,
right?
huh?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really that's the cool thing with that. And then just the call and response that goes on with this tune, and just keeping that, I'm not scared as a thing that just goes and goes and goes. It's like just drilling that home. It's like, I think that's something like a messaging wise that people need to hear, that, like for themselves to get that part of, like, I'm not scared, I'm going to do this. I think it's really something that, we're in a crazy time period right now in 2025. It's like people need to have this, um I guess, desire to not be scared and just move on, pursue regardless, whatever's going on, you just keep on moving,
Yeah.
because that's kind of what people, or the powers that be, so to speak, they want to keep you down. Like you just mentioned that
Yes.
before. That's very
Yes.
true. It's like,
Yes.
that's what people want to subdue and confine and control. So it's like, no, we're not doing this. I'm not scared of any of this stuff. I'm gonna go, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
really
I
cool. Yeah.
had to turn off the burner. I tried to make
Oh,
lunch a long time ago and the rice wasn't cooking. So I was
oh,
like, okay, I'm gonna have to turn that off at some point.
no fire, no fires, please. That's a different kind of life you don't
um,
want to have. So
yes, yes, no, but to what you said, absolutely. I mean, my goodness, I don't want to say never ending, but sometimes it really feels that way where there's different eras and you just step into maybe a more quiet time in the world or in your town or in your home where things are a little bit more quiet and calm. You get into a groove and then suddenly whoop, something happens somewhere with someone, whatever the scale is, and it just really shakes it up. And um gosh, these last few years have been so wild, especially in a more global kind of sense. um and I am scared a lot of the time, So again, another song of mine that when I wrote it, I really felt so unafraid. I felt so filled with confidence and clarity. And I can still tap into that, but it's been a really shaky few years. Yeah. So if that could be just a reminder that we can overcome and you know find peace somehow again wherever it is that we are. I mean, I guess I'm chasing that right now.
yeah,
I almost 4 years in America and it was incredible. I mean, my gosh, I had so many incredible experiences and a few shaky moments too, but um I have sisters here in Portugal and they're creating this new life for themselves and it's just, very rural and serene. And of course it comes with its little challenges, new country, new language, new rules. But overall it's this desire to be in a calm environment where survival isn't what's leading, I feel like I've been a little bit on survivor mode for a few years now, and it's just I'm ready to kind of calm the system a bit and work from that space.
yeah, that's definitely that's definitely, you're right on the money. It's like, you get that little wild thing going for a while, then you want just a little bit of, like I said, get your brain back too and get some
Mhm,
peace, and
mhm.
a different environment is a healthy thing, and again, just that healthy outlet. It's like, that's the thing too, where if you're scared, people do different things to cope with that. So the fact that you have these healthy outlets, whether it's meditation, writing music, the travel part of things, being around family,
Yeah,
these are healthy things. And it's, you have to find those things too. A lot of times, that's great that you
yeah,
have these things that you can go to and have these experiences and still have that familial contact is great.
Oh yeah. I count my blessings
Yeah.
in many, many ways. And I'm grateful that all these years that I have been learning myself, even though I find myself in crazy places, I do know that I can step out and reconnect and heal and whatnot. And yeah, definitely feel very, very, very grateful and lucky. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. That's great. And speaking of grateful, Caught in a Wave. That song is like the gratitude of the ocean and what it does for you. Like, that's the kind of vibe I got. And just that loungy thing in the beginning is really cool.
Yeah.
Um, I could just picture like, being poolside and having this like really chill music going on. And this could be one of the tracks that plays. Um,
Mm.
the power of the sea and the sand, the healing components of those things, smelling the salt in the air. Being that I'm in the Midwest now, I don't have that. We just smell the fresh water. It's like, but being from the East Coast originally, you got the Atlantic Ocean and the breezes come up, and you smell the salt, or the West Coast, whatever.
Mm.
Salt air is a little
Mhm.
different than freshwater air. So there's a
Yeah.
certain thing about that that's very healing. The
Oh
salt,
yeah.
it's very healing, for skin and things like that. So, but just that aromatherapy is a big thing with like, the
Hmm.
smell of the ocean and hearing the ocean. We get streams and brooks and things like that and waterfalls, but the ocean is a different animal,
Oh
altogether.
yeah.
And there's a lot of
Yeah.
healing in that. And the quoting of the guitar is what I caught on to also, like the melody, and the guitar takes that a
Mm.
little bit later on. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of cool, which is a very jazz thing. So like that
Oh
influence coming
yeah.
in is so cool.
Yeah. Like when I do it on the piano, it's very stripped back. I do the same chord, that's throughout the song, but Beth really brought it in. I mean, she has the jazz, the Motown. I mean, she's got a lot going on, funk, and that piano instrumental was just one of my favorite things. And I was so, just the whole process was so incredible. And working with her was really, really easy. And, you know, gosh, it was a while ago. And again, my own relationship with the songs after they were recorded and done is just my own personal journey. And, it was interesting having that, that mirror. So I did go through some, um, just maybe some discomfort at times, but the process and the and working with her was really neat. And then mixing the songs together and just having Jason, who did the backup vocals. I mean, he did some of the backup vocals with us. I wanted that gospel feel, because yes, Jewish, religious, but I was listening to gospel music in my room, like Kirk Franklin and Jill Scott, and gosh, I mean, and R&B and all the greats. I mean, my goodness. So yeah, that really was the source of who I was as a singer and a soul singer. And I got to do a lot of that with her, and that was so much fun. And then the other songs I recorded later, I spent 3 years in Tennessee, and I was already playing the guitar at that point, so that was a little bit more like that kind of world. But
Right.
this album was definitely just a manifestation of the first years of my life, of the music that I would listen to and what inspired me. Carole King, I mean, my gosh, I don't even know, Aretha Franklin, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan. I mean, and I couldn't even cover all of that, because I was also bringing my own interpretation. It was after a few years of just searching for my own voice. So I even feel like, I'm just always growing. But yeah, that record represents like the first good nugget of my musical life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good because, like I mentioned earlier, too, this collection, you get to hear all these things you just talked about. You hear all the influences, the voices, um, approaches to arrangement. Working with
Hmm.
Beth,
Hmm.
like it really produced a very solid collection, of work, and creativity. So, I appreciate all of it. And then with the next song, Warrior of Light, that's another one
Uh-huh.
that light factor coming back in. And that
Oh, yeah.
drum intro, was really kind of cool. It's like a very uh because piano kind of started off the goddess, and also with the next song, piano factors in pretty heavy, but it's all through all the tracks, you know, or all that stuff. But certain instruments kind of stand out
Hmm.
immediately. Just that tribal
Yes.
beat in the
Oh
beginning
yeah.
of the warrior, you know, but
Yep.
the idea of warrior of light, you know, because you think of warrior in a different way, you know, of like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to war, you know, and there's fighting,
Yeah.
but this idea of fighting for light is an interesting thing too. You know, the phrase "I call upon thee,"
Yeah.
you know, was
Yeah.
really was striking, you know. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it's very powerful. I now I wouldn't, I mean, maybe it's just part of being human, this terminology around, war, and I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's a very beautiful and uh hopeful, again, song about um overcoming these dark uh, entities, this dark energy, whatever you want to call it, um, and allowing the light to come through, and the ability to, in the worst of the worst, still see the light in the other, and try to work in that space. It's so difficult. I mean, I want to share a story right now. Um, can I?
absolutely.
So when October 7th happened, I lived in a community, a really cool area, very close to the shore and very hippie, conscious, mindful, whatever, super fun, all the things I love. And I was there for about a year and a half, and over the pandemic, and all kinds of just really neat workshops and creative endeavors and house shows and just so much creativity and light coming through. And when I left to America, so this was maybe a year and something after I'd moved there, that October 7th happened. Um, there was a lot of news and horrific footage. And one story that came out that really made me think about this song was a mother who lost her son. And she's from that community, she's from that area. And she had a few friends with her, just like holding her and supporting her while she was being interviewed. And she just lost her son. And she was speaking from a place of love, uh, towards these horrific acts and these humans that, just did the worst of the worst. And trying to, and begging and telling the people, the listeners, like, we need to be in peace, we need to make peace, we need to figure this out. And she just came from such a place of just such grief and pain, but with so much love and light. And so it was almost a reflection of what I felt when I wrote that song. Not that I have children or that I ever hope. I mean, gosh, no hope. I never. No one should ever experience that. Ever, ever, ever. That is not my story. Beep, beep, beep. Against the evil eye.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was almost like so radical in that it made me think about that, because yeah, I'm saying, like, I'm quick and light. I'll look them in the eyes,
Mm.
find their souls, because I don't want to fight. So I grew up in a very um extreme environment. And as a young child, we had a lot going on around us. And then in 2001, I was about 9, 10, and there was the Intifada. And then there were more just awful things happening around us, and a lot of fear and, yeah, nightmares. Like, the words in that song are the truth. Like, I would have nightmares. Yeah, it's scary, where it's like you're being chased, or like, terrorists, whatever. And of course, that, happens all over the world. So there is something, let's go back to Child of the Universe. Like, everything I speak of in a very, very unfortunate, if we're looking at the sadder things, and also positive light, are universal. They're happening everywhere. And at all times, unfortunately. But again, beautiful and positivity also at the same time. The duality is real. So that just to me was like, whoa, yikes. Like, here's this woman and she is leading with that. And it was just whoa. Because I wrote that song from a place of truth, but I can't know. I don't know how I would react, and I don't want to have to know, right? Again.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but that's the radicalism of that, the of what that song means to me
Mm.
is just
Yeah.
just trying to find the humanity, because both extremes communities are brought up with this is the other and they're bad, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
I can speak for both,
Yeah.
you know
It's that
this is the
empathy.
other
Yeah.
and they're bad.
Yeah. And then empathy too, just like a quality that, um, people can attain if they want to. I mean, there's so much lack of that, especially here in the States, where there's meanness, and that's the point of things that, there's an element of being mean to each other. And that's power. And it really
Mm,
isn't. It's probably the weakest state, but even that's searching out the light and being a warrior for that,
yeah.
having the empathy for people. And that story of that woman, she could easily just been furious and want to fight, but somehow she was able to pull out something different, and that's something that's really, um, it's hard to do that sometimes. I know for myself, there's a knee-jerk reaction to just so angry about something like that. But for her, having lost her child, which is the worst thing ever, um, to come at it with empathy in a way is like, wow, that's a whole level up,
Yeah.
you know,
I, yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It shouldn't get
Absolutely.
to that point, but it does. That's the unfortunate part is that have we not learned yet, to be
Yeah.
looking for light, not this other stuff.
Yeah.
Make it so much easier. It's like to go at it that way. And that's the
Yeah.
thing again with
Yeah.
these songs. It's just that messaging of like, it doesn't have to be a certain way. You can go
Yeah.
and move in these directions.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Bringing into the last song, the shift, right? This
Uh,
changing element, of
yeah.
being tender with yourself, or giving yourself permission,
Yes. Yes.
um, moving through life with that, with permissions. You give yourself. You don't need permission from something else external. You give yourself permission to do certain things.
Yeah.
I kicked into that because again, that's so that nice I call it tender piano intro, and then the other instruments respond to that tenderness.
Mm,
Like the very first track, God has had a nice, you know, I wouldn't say delicate, but just that very calm, like piano entrance was just
yeah.
that nice bookend to the entire collection. It's like
Yeah.
it started a certain way and now become full circle, with the idea of being tender.
Yes.
I think was
Yes.
really cool.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another little moment, shared
yeah.
moment. So the inspiration to that song was uh appreciation towards men. I grew up in a very feminist home, um, very extreme feminist home, and an older brother and four girls, um, and yeah, there was just a lot of like, I'm a woman, and in many ways, bashing on men, um, and when I wrote that song, I was already kind of deep into my just self growth journey, and I was thinking about the good guys. Like what about the good guys, right? I thought about my brother um, and just yeah. So I knew that I wanted to be my own kind of feminine, and what I was didn't really reflect what I felt I was. It was, mm, and I have a lot of love for my mom, and the women I grew up around, but yeah, just a lot of toughness. And I think maybe that's also because her generation and the ones prior had to fight a lot, had to really speak out and be loud and take space, just a
Yeah.
lot, and have unhealthy relationships and experience abuse, you name it. There's all kinds of reasons why women and men reach that their hardness, and I just really wanted to be myself, yeah, to just really bring that in and relearn my relationship with men, whether it's dating or relationships with my family, or and I'm still learning. Yes, there is much to learn always. But that was an important time in my life where I was realizing, uh, yeah, that there is a lot to say here, and to just fine tune.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, fine tuning.
Yeah.
Like, and then catching yourself too. Like, it's, you know, the patriarchy is a real thing, and it's not really great, because you're not yourself. First off,
Mhm.
whoever's putting that out there towards somebody, and then the receiving end, both sides aren't equal. I know there's a special symbol on your album cover, um, about yeah, it's that very idea. This phone's ringing for some reason. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
The yin and yang.
yes, so that's the thing too. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the balance. It's the balancing point. When things are out of balance, conflict arises. So, but if there's a level of people in a situation, you can get somewhere with that.
Mm.
So I think that's the thing of seeking the shift, is that also that seeking that level point where both people feel they're on the same page, they're on the same playing
Mhm.
field. And dialogue is huge with that. That's how you get there. And that's the thing too with this collection, is there's a dialogue going on, as well as a
Mhm.
through line, but there's a lot of elements going on. It's like this, it's really a really important collection of songs, because it's like, the messaging, the desire that, you're trying to arrive on equal footing with yourself. Even that's the main thing. It starts with yourself. And that's the thing I get with
Mhm.
this, that
Mhm.
reminder that whatever goes on, it starts right here with yourself.
Mhm.
And you put that out there into the world. I think that's really, if you have that mind shift, then you can experience the whole world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, I'm definitely gonna give that a listen now.
Yeah, it's you did good. I mean, it's really it's fantastic. The mix was great. You mentioned the
Mm.
mix with Beth, and just that the guitar playing was great too. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
So tasty. The voices that were with you on things, oh my gosh, ridiculous.
it
So
was it was so much fun. Talk about, I mean, whoa, I flew into the States. I was living in Israel at the time because my grandfather passed away. So yeah, he wasn't well for a few years, and so it was almost like bittersweet, but we knew that he was in a better place, and um believed to know, yes. um and yeah, when I got there, my mom just told me, like, yeah, I heard about this producer through a musician friend, and I got in touch with her, and that's how we met. And it was just like an instant click, and we were just super stoked to work together. Um, yeah, and really, really just a really exciting experience. And one of the things that I felt were maybe, you can't change the past, but after that, I went back to Israel, and I was living up north. I was doing my plan B, and I was doing it pretty well. I was starting to build momentum, but then I had this just serious, right before I recorded that album. It was almost, I was sitting and enjoying my little cozy corner, and then I got this information, whatever you want to call it. I was like, I need to record an album. Like, it was just really powerful. And then the universe provided, honestly, it just all kind of came together. But yeah, what I was trying to say is I came back to Israel, and then I decided to leave the north, move to the city, be closer to all the happening, you know, and and a lot happened, and it was pretty cool. But I always wondered, what if I was in America after that, you know? What if I nurtured those relationships and kind of, you know, yeah, just stayed on that uh I don't know. But again, it is what it is. Um so that's why I'm so happy to talk about it, because yeah, I do feel like it kind of, you know, sat in the corner for quite some time, and then in 2022 I did post it on online properly, and it just feels really good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I think you mentioned it was cathartic as well, which is, I've gotten that about my own songs. Like, these songs feel cathartic. I'm like, yeah, they were. It's like you have a certain thing of songs for a while and then you finally record them, So that's, I have my pandemic album, as a lot of people do, So that's the thing. It's like because we were all like, sitting like, okay, now what? So you just say, okay, now's the time. Let's do this. So
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that story because that's kind of how I got to where I got with my own thing. You just know
Yeah.
this is the time to do it. So
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Same with the second one. Same story. I didn't even anticipate recording another album. I was like, I'm moving to America, I'm moving to Tennessee, and I just want to play live shows, and I just want to, hang out and whatever. And then I got into a car accident,
oh,
and that really shook me up. And 2 weeks and a half later, I'm sitting at the park and with my guitar and just kind of self-soothing. And suddenly I get this idea, this concept of like, oh shit. And then a few songs come through, and I'm like, well, there you go. The universe provides again, you know?
yeah,
Um, yeah, definitely works in mysterious ways.
yes. Thankfully, it's a nice problem to have. That's one of the good problems is that.
Yeah, but I did put a statement out there to the universe after that where it was like, I don't need any more like really big, shaky, scary kind of scenarios to create art. Thank you
Yeah,
and good night.
yeah,
Like a lot has happened since they didn't listen.
yeah.
I'm also responsible for a lot of it, but yeah, it is what it is.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so happy we got to talk about your tunes today. It's so cool. Please
Yes.
keep going. Do more.
Thank you so
When
much.
when the
Yes.
universe calms down, doesn't send you all this stuff. It's good. So give me a
Yes.
second. I gotta do this first, and you give me more stuff later. So the universe will always
Yeah.
provide.
Yeah. At this point, I've definitely surrendered into, yeah, anything goes as long as I am in a healthy state, and just keep it smooth and good people around you, and, make sure that, you just have all the goodness around you and in you.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you ever make it to Portugal and I'm here, I will definitely hook you up. There are some really cool spots happening out here. One that opened up over the summer that they had a live show and then an open jam, and
That's cool.
really cool things happening over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, music is very big there, South America too, like very, very passionate about music. And
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. Yeah.
that in space. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on this collection. It's really
Thank
good.
you.
And where can we find it? We could find it, I guess, on Spotify, right? Where can people seek out this music? Where is it?
Yeah, Spotify, YouTube, two channels. I would always recommend listening to the songs on Spotify or YouTube because you have that channel. But on YouTube, I have my other channel that you can see live shows, songs that haven't been recorded in the studio. Yeah, and an artist page on Facebook that I don't have access to right now, but I will at some point, hopefully. And yeah, I over the years have hosted a lot of music events under House of Faye. So
Oh, okay.
that's
Cool.
on Instagram. And yeah, I noticed there are a bunch of House of Fays, but if you find the one that has like a lot of pictures of people and music and live and whatnot. That's the one. I just reopened it. And yeah, that's all for now.
That's pretty good. That's a good amount. I'll have it all. You'll probably see it on the screen as we talk. You'll see it all show up. They'll be in the links below in the description. So I'll include
Awesome.
those there so you can find May through all
Thank
those
you.
avenues and all that
Yes.
stuff. So please support May. Please. It's really important to support original music. It really goes a long way for everybody. So it really kind of creates a nice community. So
Yes.
please feel free to
Yes.
do that. It's
Thank
important,
you.
you know.
And I still have a dream of co-creating a music festival somewhere at some point through my work with House of Faye. And I
Oh,
have you both in mind. Absolutely. I mean, it would be so neat. So if that ever comes into fruition, you will know. And hopefully we'll share a stage,
yeah,
like
that'd be cool. And we'll
that
come
would be
back on
so
here
cool.
perhaps too and talk about that as well and promote that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
May, thank you so much. What a great conversation. Thank you for sharing as much as you've shared about your music. And I hope you guys really get enthusiastic to seek it out. It's really well worth it. I highly recommend you seeking it out and listen to the music. Really good stuff. And I guess with that, I can bid you guys all adieu. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. All the good stuff. You know how to do it. So appreciate you guys being here and watching. And we'll see you guys on the next one. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you again, May. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Got it. Okay. Bye, guys.